And welcome back to the Holler Tutorials. This time we'll be featuring Windows Movie Maker, or sometimes called Windows Live Movie Maker. So the first thing we should talk about is how to get it. Sometimes it's pre-installed on your computer, but other times, more often than not, you'll have to download it yourself. And to download it, all you have to do is go to Google and type in Windows Movie Maker. And just be sure not to press on one of the spam ones. Just follow my directions exactly and hit the windowsmoviemaker.org with the dashes. And depending on what your OS is. But quick heads up, this is just a Windows only product. So if you're watching this tutorial and you're on a Mac, sorry. You'll just have to go watch our iMovie tutorial, which when it's uploaded, I'll put down in the description. So just you wait. Now once it's finished downloading, just install it like you would any other product. Accept the agreement, choose a directory you'd like for it to install at, give it a nice little name. Once you're finished with all that, just launch the program and we'll get started. Welcome to Windows Movie Maker. So now let's just import some footage. There's two ways you can do this. You can either press add videos and photos, or you can just click the middle of that big box in the center. But you may just want to go to add videos and photos and find a folder where you have your videos and photos in. So once your file is ready to go, you can kind of just scrub through it by pressing the little black line and you can just see what you got. Yeah, I'm just kind of standing there, doing my thing. Now as you can see, that's a lot of footage that I probably don't necessarily need. So let's talk about removing some of that and just trimming it down. Just going up to edit, and you'll notice it has all these new settings now, like split, trim tool. If you split wherever that black bar is, you'll notice it just splits it in two. So now you have two separate clips made from your one clip. Now you see set start point and set end point. If you have a clip selected and you press set start point, it will trim the video to wherever the black bar is, and that's the start of the video. And then you can do the same thing by moving your scrubber to the end of your clip and hitting set end point. It will cut the rest of the video off there and it will just trim it to that point. So I have some extra video I don't need. To get rid of that, you can just press delete on your keyboard, or you can right click and go down to remove. It's really up to you. So now that we know how to work those tools, let's trim this up and see what we can get here. So now our video's put together. Let's watch this and see how it goes. That's just a simple little trick you can do with your tripod. There's plenty of other things you can do with editing and whatnot, but let's move on to the next little bit. So let's get this video out the way. Let's move on to stock images. So let's talk about some of the things you can do with these images. You see, you can go into edit mode and you can change the duration. So if you think the image stays on for too long, you can change the duration to 30 seconds like I did. Or you can make it 3 seconds. So we have these stock images here. Let's go up to visual effects and see what we can do with that. You'll notice that it has all these little things you can do, like you can change the color, saturation, you can take away the color, and then you can spin it around like this. Pretty cool, right? And then it also has animations, which animations they can zoom in on your photo, they can be transitions like it's doing right now. You can transition from one photo to the next. Same with the video, you can add it to a video on the next video and it'll transition to them. And then you can also set the duration, so if you want it to last 2 or 3 seconds. It even tells you whenever there's a transition on your clip by a little triangle that appears down the timeline. So now you have these little effects and animations added on, and you want to get rid of them. But that's pretty easy. All you have to do is just click on visual effects and animations, whatever you have on that clip, and you notice there's a little gray box. Just go over there and press it, and it'll take it right off. Now let's talk about text. You'll notice that if you hit title, it'll create a black video, and it'll add it down on your timeline. And it'll also throw a title on top. So you can just type in whatever you want. But let's say you don't want that and you want to add text on top of your images. Well, for that, just delete your title and add a caption. A caption will just appear over your video, and if you go over to your text tools, you can actually format it. You can change the size, you can bold it, you can italicize, change the font. a start time, a text duration, and then you can also add an outline. So if it's hard to read against, let's say you have the white text against a white background, you can add an outline color so you can make it black, and you can change the size of the outline, change the color, and all that. So now that we have that, let's set these little actors up with some text and see what we can get. So it's looking good, but we need to add some music. To add music, you just go over to Add Music next to Add Videos and Photos, and just find a directory wherever the music's located that you have. If you don't have any music, you can just download some off the internet, or you can make some and put it on there. It's really up to you. Once your music is added, you'll notice that it adds it in automatically, and it clips it to your video. So where your video ends, so does the music. And you'll notice even it has its own tools that appear. And you'll notice that everything on your timeline has tools. Your video, your music, and your text. And as you'll find out right now, still use your narration. Let's talk about narration. If you have a mic hooked up to your computer, you can actually record sound directly to your timeline. All you have to do is hit record narration, and it'll come up with a record, stop, and exit. So just hit the big red button, and it'll play your video, and you can actually talk into your microphone. So if you had a voiceover, you could just talk. Wherever you talk is where it's exactly going to place on the timeline. So add some music, add some narration to your video if needed. Let's jump back to editing the video and see what we can get here. So the video's done. Let's watch it and let's see what we think. Hey, what's up? You got them files? What files? Hey, I found them. Yeah. So okay, that wasn't the worst thing in the world, but let's change it up a bit and let's make this text bigger so you can really just put some emphasis on whenever she finds these files, because they're such a big deal. So it needs a lot more work. It's definitely not ready to go out, but I'm going to show you how to export your video now. To export your video, you just click File and go over to Save Movie. And as you can see, there's a few settings like high definition display or for computer. For top grade video, go to for high definition display. Give it a good old title like Epic Conversations, like you see here. And make sure you save it somewhere related. I like to make a folder for my projects so that everything's close together. And once it's saved, it'll come up and it'll tell you if you want to open the folder it's saved in or play it. But before we play it, let's save the project so we can exit this, and we can always come back to it later to fix it up and make it perfect and show it to the world. So let's watch the video now and see what you think. Hey, what's up? You got them files? What files? Hey, I found them. Yeah. I made this video in a few minutes, and as you can see, the user interface is pretty nice. You know, it's pretty friendly to new people. Like if you don't know what you're doing, you can kind of just press around. You're not going to break anything. Just kind of get in there and just play around with it and see what you can make. I mean, I just made this in a few minutes, and it wasn't the worst thing in the world. So now you know the basics of Windows Movie Maker. But I guess I'll be signing off now. So I'm Adrian Smith, and I'll holler at you later.